Hello, everybody. So, yay. So, I was just waiting for a lot of people to come on. Hi, Catherine. Catherine Morris, that's my name. Kimberly Deontay Morris Gautier. Lots of names. Hello, everybody. So, if you are on Facebook and you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, you know, or you may know that we received another cancer diagnosis. The first one was last year with Sydney. She was diagnosed with hemangiosarcoma. She was diagnosed on August 5th and she left us on September 10th. So it was very aggressive cancer. We caught it far too late. But the bright side is that I was able to spend, a month with her and just giving her tons of love. And and when it was time to let her go, we were able to let her go in the comfort, of our home with, surrounded by us. So, it was very painful and just a shock because although I know that raw feeding doesn't cure everything or doesn't protect our dogs from everything, it's still a shock when you get a cancer diagnosis because it's like, I'm doing everything right, or at least we think we do. But it's one thing that to always remember that, cancer is very much a part of pet ownership. And I think it's now 50% of dogs will get cancer. So we have 4 dogs. There's a good chance that 2 of them will get cancer at some point in time of their life, sometimes just at the end of their life. So when we got the news about Scout, I wasn't surprised, but I was very much, heartbroken and disappointed. And I'm going to tell you the reason why I wasn't surprised is because after losing Sydney, I became an entirely different pet parent. I mean, I am a helicopter dog mom. I made a point of massaging my dogs down. Basically, if a dog is sitting still and relaxing, I'm hugging and kissing them, but I'm also feeling all around. And I actually have a list of all the lumps and bumps on each dog, where I can tell you where they are, and I'm feeling them to see if they're changing in size and shape, if they're growing. And Scout had a lump in his neck area. And it wasn't squishy the way a fatty tumor is. And so I knew it was something, and I knew it wasn't going to be great. But I somehow just had a sense that it would be okay. And the reason why is because I have a really dear friend of mine that had a dog that had thyroid cancer, and her dog is still with us. He's doing great. He's old and has arthritis, but he's not dead. So I know that this is something that I need to get on, but I knew it was going to be okay, or at least I hope that it was going to be okay. I can't help but tell myself that, my dogs are fed a raw diet. They're exposed to very few toxins. We don't burn candles and things in the house. We use essential oils and diffuse essential oils. When we're mopping the floors, we don't use harsh cleaners. We use either a mixture of water and essential oils, or we just do hot water. But we've made a lot of changes over the years to our dog's life to make sure that they have the best chance at a long, happy, healthy life. So that being said, I feel like this diagnosis doesn't mean that I'm going to lose Scout. It just means that we're going to have to focus on Scout for the next, few months or so. So to go back to the start, and you guys, if you have questions, feel free to ask them. If I don't get to your questions, please repeat them and I will get to them. But I want to say that, how I discovered it. I was, basically crawling all over Scout and hugging and kissing him, and I felt the lump in his throat. As I said, it was very hard. It was movable, but it was hard. It just wasn't the same as the lipomas that I'm used to feeling. So I made an appointment, took him in. They did a fine needle aspirate. Please do not go into any type of lectures about the cons of fine needle aspirates. And the reason why I say that is because unless you are a veterinarian, and I'm really serious, guys, unless you are a veterinarian, I want you to be very careful about what you share and post. And the reason why is because there are other people that may be experiencing the same things. And what scares me about social media is so many people will jump in and start sharing information, and it's not accurate information, and it can lead to someone making a very bad decision that can ultimately harm their dog. So I chose to do a fine needle aspirate. The reason why I wanted to do that is because I wanted to see if this had the potential of cancer cells. I didn't want to be lulled into a false sense of security, thinking that everything is fine. I learned from Sydney not to take these things lightly at all. So they came back. There were cancers. They found cancer cells in the sample that they drew. So then when I found that out, I stayed on the phone for an hour trying to find an oncologist. Because of COVID, everyone is backed up. Everyone's at home watching their dogs, and they're now seeing all these things with their dogs. So they want to get their dogs checked out. So my vet's office is, it's about a week out, and it's actually not as bad as other places because it's the way it was before COVID. But with the oncology offices, they are booked out until March and April right now. So I called and left a message everywhere. I sent emails everywhere. I had friends helping me out to get Scout in for an appointment. So now he's going to get into an appointment on Saturdays, this upcoming Saturday. And from there, we will start talking treatment and going forward. So I believe that I caught this early. The reason why I believe this is because, again, I massage my dogs and check everywhere. And I'm looking to see, if I find something on one dog that feels weird. A lot of times, I was speaking to someone earlier about this, you check both sides. So it's like if you feel something in the groin area or around the neck or something, you feel it, you check the other side, and it's like, is this something normal? So there's something on both sides, or is this something weird? Or I go and check another dog and say, do you have something that feels like this or not? So I'm just basically getting to know my dogs. And so I found this pretty quickly. It's a small size and it's not growing. If anything, it's gotten a little bit smaller. And his lymph nodes are, they're swollen as well. However, at his vet, he also had a complete blood panel. So his white blood cells are everything is perfectly good. So right now he's doing great, and he doesn't even know he's sick. He's his normal, happy, healthy self. What I'm going to do now, so before the appointment, the first thing I think about is diet. And I am going to put my dogs on a keto diet. I'm actually going to I was thinking about putting all of them on a keto diet. And as I was looking at their diet and what they eat, my dogs, I always thought that putting a dog on a keto diet was really hard because Sydney, it was so hard to get her to go into ketosis. With my other dogs, it's really not that big of a deal. And so I suspect that my dogs are already in ketosis, but I am going to test them to find out. It sucks to draw blood from the lip, and Scout doesn't like it. So I need to do it with another dog. And I just want to see if I can get, Scout, do that with him as well. Do it first thing in the morning. But right now he's doing good. So what I'm doing is I'm adding golden paste to his diet. I'm also adding it to, I was already adding it to Rodrigo's diet. Rodrigo is Sydney's brother. So I wasn't sure if the cancer was hereditary. So with Scout, I'm adding it to his diet. I'm not going to yet add it to Zoe's diet just yet, but it's for now, I'm going to wait until I go and talk to a vet and really get the full deal about what we're going to do before I start doing anything with Sydney's or with Zoe's diet. So he is getting golden paste, and then he is getting kind of like, giving him, I can't think. I'm adding CBD oil to his diet, and then mostly I'm just making sure that he's doing well. So I'm going to keep his life the same as possible. He's going to eat his normal meal, except for now he gets medicinal mushrooms. He was already getting that, but now it's like, yeah, you're definitely getting that every day. He's getting Canine System Saver every day. He was already getting that, but he's getting a much higher doses, twice the amount that what he normally got, which is 6 pills a day. And then he is getting, the golden paste. I guess I already said that. So that's all I'm going to do now. And the reason why I'm not doing this full course of, I'm going to put him on this really strict diet and I'm going to fast him every day and I'm going to do all of these things, is simply because this is the beginning. This is new. And I don't want to change anything too drastically until I sit and talk to a vet, because there's no point in making this huge left turn with his diet and exercise and just his daily life if I learn from a vet that was the wrong thing to do, or the vet wants me to go right instead of left. So I'm just going to take it easy with him. I'm also just working on being positive and being happy. I mean, that's the other thing that I learned from Sydney, was that I was so upset. And so I was mourning the entire time she was dying. And I know that that wasn't good for her. And so I am not going to do that with Scout. And so with Scout, we're just having a great time. So I want to tell you, what is canine lymphoma? So this is a malignant lymphoma, and I'm reading this off of the internet. Is a common cancer in dogs. It is progressive, deadly. It is a progressive, deadly disease caused by the harmful growth of lymphocytes. Lymphoma most commonly arises in lymphoid tissues in the bone marrow, thymus, lymph nodes, or spleen. Other common sites include the skin, eye, central nervous system, and bone. So we're thinking that it's the lymph nodes, but we really don't know. Right now, it feels like it's encapsulated into one spot, and hopefully we can just target that and move on, and everything is okay. If you're looking for symptoms of a dog with lymphoma, Scout has none. He has no symptoms. He just has the enlarged lymph nodes, and then he has something in his throat, a mass in his throat. But otherwise, he is doing just fine. For a dog further along, you're going to see a loss of appetite, loss of energy, weight loss, increased thirst and urination, maybe a fever, maybe difficulty breathing. One thing another person asked me about when I was calling to make his initial appointment to get the diagnosis was if his bark had changed. And because that's something that if you have a lump in the throat or you have pressure on the lymph nodes, the bark can change, and his bark hasn't changed. He is the same old barky boy that he's always been. So one thing about lymphoma that can be scary is that I have been told and I've read that it's a very aggressive cancer, and that once a dog has been diagnosed, that they may have a few weeks before they're gone. And this is like if it's left untreated. And because lymphoma is not a painful cancer, like many dogs live their life and people don't find out that they have cancer until they actually start going downhill. So it's just not something that, people will always catch. So the traditional veterinary medicine is telling us that, with left untreated, it's a few weeks. If you treat it, whether it would be prednisone, chemotherapy, or a combination of both, you can get up to a couple more years. And then I've spoken to people who have treated simply with herbs, like Chinese herbs and stuff, and received a lot more years. So I'm not quite sure what route I'm going to take, but I'm going to listen to the veterinarian. The oncologist that I chose is someone who her entire field of study is oncology, and she specializes in lymphomas. So I'm going to take advantage of her experience and knowledge in treating Scout, rather than going in there and telling her what I'm going to do or what I want to do. So that is all about what this cancer is. And finally, I think that we're probably going to be dealing with this for probably at the least 3 months up to 6 months, because that is what I've been reading about as far as the protocols. And then there's a very, like 99.9% chance that Scout will be, even after we get him into remission, he's still going to be eating this kind of modified diet that I'm feeding him right now, at least, unless I change it to something else, just to keep the cancer at bay. But there is a good chance that he can live a long, happy life. I mean, he could go out of remission, all kinds of things could happen, but he can still live a long life, and he'll just be living a long life with cancer. So before I go through and read your questions, I just want to say quickly a thank you to Trish, who was kind enough to send me a couple of keto recipes for Scout. And I so appreciate you always coming through for me. You're such a great friend. And then I want to quickly say a big hearty thank you to Patricia, who was on the phone with me for I don't know how long, probably like an hour or so, just answering my questions. And I only had a Post-it nearby, so I just kept flipping the little Post-its to take notes. And my hair is wet, so the curls are slowly shrinking. It's like when I got out of the shower, my hair was this long, and it's like slowly shrinking. But that's not what we're here to talk about. So anyway, I got tons of notes, and I will be looking over this. I will be taking everything, and I will be documenting this entire process on my blog. But I just want to say thank you to people and to everyone who sent really wonderful, wonderful emails, text messages, and posts of support. I really appreciate that. So now I just want to give you guys a heads up. And this is just a request from someone who's gone through this now 2 times. When someone announces that their dog has any type of health issue, but especially cancer or something that's basically life-threatening, one thing I always do is I ask that people do not share horror stories or give me advice on their guess of what the diagnosis is or their suggestion of how I should treat my dog, feed my dog, or anything like that. I've gotten a lot of messages from people who are telling me that, oh, you need to switch to a raw food diet. You need to do all these things. If you guys know me, then you know why I'm laughing at those type of messages. But the reason why I want to warn you against doing those things, because as well-meaning as you are, and I know that all of this comes from a really good place and big hearts, it is so unwelcomed when your mind is just trying to get your head around a cancer diagnosis. And the reason why is because, as you can imagine, especially with me, because of my following, what you see like in the comments and stuff is nothing compared to what I'm seeing, because I'm getting comments on multiple platforms. I'm getting direct messages. I'm getting text messages. I'm getting calls. Everyone is contacting me. Thankfully, my friends know me well enough where they are, they'll reach out to me and they'll just like give me information in small doses. So one person I forgot to say thank you to, Kelly Marion of Green Juju. I love you. Thank you. Because Kelly understands that I don't like unsolicited advice, but she's like, but I'm going to give you this. And she'll just give me a tidbit of stuff and let me run with it. Felicia, you're a good friend of mine and you always do that too. So gosh, you guys know me well. But the reason why I want to say, as much as you may want to tell someone, switch to a raw diet, go and get this herb and go and get this supplement and start feeding your dog this and start doing this. And if I were you, I would do this too, is that you're hitting someone who isn't quite there with way too much information, and you could be wrong. You can be 100% wrong. And as an example, when Sydney was diagnosed with cancer, I had someone tell me that I needed to make a big pot of golden paste, and I was ready to do it because I was going to be slathering that girl inside and out with golden paste. If that would have saved her, I would have done it every single day. I don't care how crazy I looked. That would have been the worst thing ever for her because of that type of cancer. So, and it's just like some people, when their dogs have cancer and they go on chemo, it's not recommended that they continue with a raw diet. Some people will switch to a cooked diet, and it's because through the chemo, the white blood cell count might be going down a little too low, so they just want to switch it over. There's so many things going on. So please, unless someone asks, just try and keep your little thoughts and comments to yourself, unless someone really asked about it. I think the only exception, my Kindle is talking to me. I think the only exception is if you've literally gone through the same cancer. And Patricia reached out to me and said, if you want to talk about my experience, then that's amazing, because that way there's nothing like talking to another pet parent and understanding step by step what they experienced, what they saw, what their dog was like under this medication, and what they and I got pages of Post-it notes of notes. And it's very helpful. But as far as just the random people, be careful, because unless you're a veterinarian, it's really kind of dangerous to put that information out there. And it's not so much for me, because I know to ignore it. I just worry about the people who are following along who also had a cancer diagnosis, and they're trying to take in as much information as possible, not realizing that if their dog has hermangio, they should not be feeding their dog turmeric or sardines or fish oil or CBD oil, because all of those can promote a bleed. And so there's so many things that you need to know. And so it's better for them to learn from veterinarians and people who are actually living with a dog with that cancer and can share specifically what they're experiencing, what they're seeing, if that makes sense. So thank you guys for all of the nice comments and the everyone saying that they're sorry. I really appreciate it. Janelle says, I'm A new raw feeding mama, and I have been inhaling your blog. Thank you. It's nice to have someone go to my blog. I swear it feels like no one goes to it sometimes. Your YouTube, Facebook, such amazing info. Thank you for giving me the courage to transition my dogs. You know what? Congratulations on taking the steps to transition your dogs. Because even if you haven't done that, just the fact that you're taking the time to educate yourself is so huge. I mean, what's interesting to me and the reason why I'm so calm and relaxed about this, and I mean, like, we got this. We've already been through it. We got this. We have an amazing team around us. But the biggest thing is something that my veterinarian said to me with Sydney, and it's just that were it not for how she was raised, she would have probably died a long time ago, or she wouldn't have lasted as long as she did. So, and I feel just the same confidence about Scout. He has been raw fed since he was 6 weeks old. He has only been sick once in his life. And he's got this. He's doing great. He was outside running around, wrecking havoc all day yesterday. He's got this. So I want to say thank you, everybody, for the well wishes. And I so appreciate it. Yeah. How old is Suzanne? How old is Scout? Scout turned 7 years old on Halloween. He's a Halloween baby. So he's in great shape. Yeah, that's the other thing. It's like, it's so important to stay positive. And so that's why I'm kind of just going to slow down with social media a little bit, because social media can be a bit toxic. How about the keto diet for dogs? Yes, that is an option for dogs, definitely. I am not going to race into a keto diet at this moment. The reason why is because I need to start like puncturing his lip and getting blood, and I need to do that daily just to see where his tolerances are and when he's going into ketosis. And I couldn't get enough blood today out of his lip to do the test, and I poked him so many times and I just couldn't do it anymore. The poor little guy was all curled up and like, why are you doing this to me? And I was just like, oh my God, I can't. And there are other places where you can pull blood. It's just that the lip is usually the fastest, easiest way to do it. So I'm going to try again, probably in 2 days, but I'm not racing towards a keto diet at the moment. I know that will be part of our journey. I have all of the ingredients in the house, so I know we're ready to go for it. But for right now, I'm just going to make sure that my dogs are eating a healthy, nutritious diet. And I'm going to address everything with, I do the mushroom matrix from Mercola, Canine System Saver, CBD. I add in CBD oil capsules from Canapet, and then the golden paste. And so that's what I'm adding to his diet right now. And then we'll change things as we go over. What kind of mushrooms and what is the benefit of giving these? So I'm doing the mushroom matrix, and then I also have an immune system boost blend that I made myself for all of my dogs, and it contains chaga mushrooms and turkey tail. So, and I don't remember the number of mushroom. I can look it up. The Mercola mushroom complex. That's what it is. Mushroom complex. So, but it has several different mushrooms in it. I'm trying to look and see. It has, there we go, reishi, I don't know how to pronounce that, king trumpet, shiitake, turkey tail, I don't know how to pronounce that, maitake, and lion's mane. So, I mean, the point of the mushrooms is that the mushrooms tend to kill, some mushrooms kill cancer cells, some mushrooms will, will make the tumor shrink a little bit. So does the golden paste. But the whole point is I'm just adding things to his diet to up his immune system, because I want to make sure his immune system stays strong while also starving, killing cancer cells and causing that tumor to start shrinking, because better safe than sorry, right? How can you tell if a dog has large lymph nodes? Good questions. Just like we have lymph nodes here, so do our dogs. So I just basically go and felt right there, and there you can feel them. And his are a little bit inflamed, not tons, but just a little bit inflamed. And I'm just basically, checking his gums to make sure they're still healthy and pink, and but he's doing okay. So how can you tell if your dog has lymph nodes. Thank you, Michelle. Oh, the red background go lighter and darker. The reason why is because I have a window open. So I think that as the room gets, yeah, light. Let's see. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Everyone is saying such great things. I really appreciate it. Diane says, for about social media, a bit toxic understatement. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, and Nicole has, this is a great reminder with hemangiosarcoma, you can do CBD oil and you can do fish oil. You just can't do them when a dog is having an active bleed. And since I was so brand new and Sydney was going downhill, I had no way of knowing. I hadn't learned yet how to tell if she was having a bleed or not having a bleed. And so to tell someone from the outgo that they can do all of these things without telling them, but you need to not do it during these times, it was just, I got a lot of really, really bad information is basically what I'm saying. And it just really makes me a little nervous. And also it's like when you tell people like the horror stories, like, oh my God, my dog had lymphoma. I had someone tell me about their dog that had hemangiosarcoma and their dog was in so much pain and was screaming all night and all these type of things. And I was horrified. Sydney didn't explain or experience anything like that, but those horror stories get planted in your brain and you just can't escape them. So I just choose not to read those type of things. So can you do it on a shaved spot on his butt like we do for diabetic dogs? Oh, I've never even heard about that. I guess I could give it a try. We have clippers. Do you have knowledge about ozone therapy? I do not. Oh, cool. So you're doing this twice a day, every day, and she doesn't seem bothered at all. I use a heated rice sock, dab of Vaseline, and a genteel advice. Prayers. I can't imagine the emotional roller coaster, but I know Scout is. Thank you. Well, I'm going to give that a try on the butt and see if that works. Gail says, I feed fresh mushrooms. Are they just as good? I honestly don't know. The reason why I prefer the mushroom matrix is because I know that Dr. Karen Becker formulated that. And I know that she is so particular in sourcing and what, so I know that all the mushrooms that are used to make that are the highest quality, non-GMO, non-toxic. Everything is great. So that's why that's something that I would do. Yeah, I could, because I know my grocery store has mushrooms as well, but because I don't know how they were grown or where they came from, I'm just sticking with the mushroom complex. It's one of those things where right now for Scout, he has to not really have any type of toxins in his world. I mean, of course, we can never truly 100% escape toxins, but I want to go with anything that if I know for a fact that this is going to be trustworthy, then that's something that I would do. If Scout was 100% healthy, I mean, I used to buy the mushrooms at the grocery store because I added them to my dog's veggie mix. Right now, I'm going to start, all organic. Everything is just I'm going to be very particular about my sourcing, if that makes sense. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. These are the type of things that make me a little nervous. I mean, the thing about it is that, a dog dewormer, I don't see how that could possibly kill cancer. Because it's like something completely different. The thing about cancer, and especially with his cancer, is basically it is a genetic thing where he was born with something that eventually this would happen. And there's a little guy in his body that's copying off cancer cells at a rapid rate. And so that's what we're going to do is basically reset that in his body and shut it down so it's no longer producing cancer cells. And I don't see how just a regular dewormer would do that. I mean, I'm not doubting that someone used it to kill a cancer in their dogs, but the question is what type of cancer, because not all cancers are created equal. And from what I understand, like a lot of medications out there, And that's, like one of the reasons why I don't do vaccinations. I'm very careful about what is my dogs are exposed to and what is put into their body. And so it's, when it comes to cancer, it's not something that I want to DIY. I really want to have a specialist that knows all the ins and outs of that particular cancer, managing his treatment, because I feel like if I were to do something to my dog, based on, stories that I read on social media and my dog died, I would never forgive myself for that. I just couldn't handle it. And so, I do appreciate it, but I just think that it's really, when it comes to cancer, I'm really careful about anecdotal evidence. I really want to talk to a professional. Unfortunately, the person who runs that group is not a fan of mine, and so he would not let me in that group. But thank you so much for recommending it. I've heard great things about that group, but when it comes to this, I'm on my own. So do you use an integrative vet? Yes, Dr. Sherry Guidry is an integrative vet at Helping Hands in Linwood, and then she recommended, she gave me a list of oncologists to contact. She's actually on vacation, so she was kind enough to contact me while she's on vacation. So Valerie says, also look into red light therapy. It is great for humans and fur kids alike. It has helped my whole family tremendously. It works to help the body heal and calm itself, and I think that that's great. I don't mean to dismiss anything that anyone's saying. I'm just sort of like, I am not going to be taking any advice from anyone on social media. And the reason why I say that is simply because as much as I know you guys mean well when you share advice like this, I don't know exactly what we're dealing with. And if I just follow people's advice blindly, everyone gave me a list of things to do and I ran to Amazon and started making purchases, what if I ended up doing something that harmed my dog rather than helped my dog? You know what I mean? So that's why it's like, as much as I appreciate, these recommendations, that this is what I'm saying is that I can't take them. And, like with other comments, if I post anything, I'll probably go through the comments and delete them. And the reason why is because I am not going to follow that, because it's not coming from my veterinarian. But also I really truly worry about people not taking their dog's illness seriously, reading something on social media and going that route. I mean, we live in an age of people who are now gluing things to their face as the Gorilla Glue challenge. After this poor woman, almost lost all of her hair, people are now turned it into a challenge. I mean, we don't, everyone is putting way too much faith in what they're reading on social media, unfortunately. And so that's why I'm saying be wary about sharing advice and recommendations, especially if you're not a veterinarian, simply because we have no way of knowing if what you're sharing would work for my dog, and for his what's it called? His cancer. So thank you so much though, you guys. So. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I see this where someone cured their cancer, but it's like, it was referred to him by his veterinarian. So that's why it's like, it's not a good idea for me to run out, because I can go to the store and get dewormer. It's not a good idea because I have no idea what any of, like what happened, what type of cancer was it? There's so many different things, so that's why I'm just saying, be a little careful, Yes. Thank you. Yes, I am in the turmeric users group. So, and now I think that is all there is. I don't know why so many people are getting this. I think you guys, I think we're getting spammed in Facebook, but anyway, so that is it. That is everything about my dog, and I will deal with this spammer in a second and go ahead and delete them. But that is it. And, he's doing great, and I'm positive that we're going to be good, and I will be. Yeah, I know. I had one the last time too that I had to go through and block them, and Facebook is getting horrible with these spammers. So, but then, yeah, so I'm going to be going through and doing everything, and I will document what I'm doing on my blog. I don't know how many Facebook Lives I'm going to do, simply because I don't really see the point of it unless something really big happens. I think I want to just keep everything documented on my website. So if you guys haven't already, definitely check out keepthetailwagging.com, and definitely check out my newsletter, which is keepthetailwagging.com/newsletter. On my newsletter, you can get access to my nutrient spreadsheet, which covers all of the proteins and a few other foods that I feed to my dogs. But it is comparing the nutrients in those foods to what the NRC says that our dogs should have based on each of my dogs' weights. My dogs all weigh between 60 and 70 pounds. So if you have a dog that weighs that much, that's great information for you. But if you don't, you can also work with someone that can give you the figures for a dog of your dog size, and you can change the spreadsheet and use it that way as well. So it goes out attached to or with a link on my newsletter, and there's a version for Excel and a version for Max. Is it Numbers that Max has? So that regardless of what type of system you're using, you can open it up and use it. So that is it. And I want to say just thank you so much, so very much for the support. It means the world to me, because as anybody knows who has had a dog with cancer or just has lost a dog, you guys know that this can be so very stressful. Even if you have the best outcome, it can still be very, very stressful. So just having people sharing their stories and just sending good wishes, it does, I don't know what the word is, but basically I appreciate it. So thank you so very much. And you guys enjoy your Sunday, and I will talk to you later.